sleep. I am young Homer, here to guide you deeper into the rise and fall of Zeus. Tonight, we continue Series 10, The Fall of Zeus, End of the Reign and Legacy with Episode 88, Zeus in Exile, a king with no throne. In this tale, we find Zeus as he steps away from Olympus for the last time, no longer a ruler but a solitary figure drifting through a world that has moved beyond his reign, his throne empty, his power quiet. Zeus wanders as a memory of the past, watching over humankind from a distance. Without the halls of Olympus, he roams the earth and skies like a passing storm. His presence felt only as a gentle rumble of thunder or a whisper in the winds. This is a story of solitude, dignity, and a king's final journey as he finds peace in the freedom of letting go. As we enter this tale of solitude and quiet grace, allow yourself to settle deeply into the warmth of your bed, feeling safe, grounded, and fully supported. Close your eyes if you wish, and take a slow, deep breath in, letting calm expand through your chest, as steady as a lone cloud drifting across the endless sky. As you exhale, release any remaining tension, allowing your body to grow heavy, sinking into stillness and peace. This is your time to rest, to let go, and to find calm. Now focus on the gentle rhythm of your breath. Each inhale and exhale is quiet and constant as the soft rolling of distant thunder. Take a slightly deeper breath in, letting it fill you completely, and hold it softly for a moment. Then, as you exhale, feel any tightness dissolve, leaving only warmth and tranquility. One more time. Breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, feel yourself sinking further, calm and serene. Now, let's guide each part of the body to soften, inviting rest with every breath. Start with your forehead, allowing it to relax completely as you exhale. Move to your jaw, releasing any tension, letting it rest gently. Now, bring awareness to your shoulders. Inhale deeply, then let them fall, as though casting off the weight of an age-old crown. Allow your arms and hands to grow heavy, resting peacefully by your sides. Notice the steady rise and fall in your chest and belly, inhaling as your belly rises, and on the exhale, releasing any last bits of tension, feeling light and free. Shift your focus to your hips and thighs, letting them sink deeper into the bed, fully supported and relaxed. And finally, bring attention to your calves, feet, and toes, allowing them to release completely, grounded and calm. Now, imagine yourself on a quiet mountainside at dusk, where the sky stretches wide and deep, painted in fading light. In the distance, you see Zeus, his form strong yet softened as he gazes upon the world below. Without the burden of rule, he moves as part of nature itself, a presence felt in the wind, in the rustle of leaves, in the distant echo of thunder. No longer a king, he is simply part of the world he once ruled, a quiet witness to life as it unfolds. With each breath, feel yourself surrounded by the calm of this moment, as though you too are part of the peaceful rhythm of the earth and sky. Inhale deeply, letting the calm and freedom of the scene fill you, and exhale, feeling grounded, steady, and fully at ease. With your body relaxed and your mind open, allow the story to carry you into this world of quiet solitude and endless freedom, where even the greatest find peace in simplicity. Take one last deep breath in and let it out softly. Now, let us begin. With the disbandment of the Olympian Council, Zeus found himself in a world that felt both familiar and strangely foreign. He wandered through forests, across mountains, and along the quiet edges of the world, places he had seen for centuries from his throne on Olympus, but never truly experienced. The sounds of nature filled his ears, sounds that once carried the echoes of worship and devotion, but now marked only the peaceful hum of an independent world. In his exile, Zeus felt an unfamiliar weight, a silence that grew heavier with each step, a profound solitude that no god had ever felt before. The mortals who once revered him were far removed from these quiet places, and he could feel the absence of their voices, their prayers, their reliance on him. For eons he had been the center of the cosmos, the king of gods and men, yet here he was, no longer a ruler but a wanderer, stripped of power, purpose, and title. As he walked, Zeus's thoughts turned inward, and he felt compelled to look back on the journey that had defined him, the arc of his life from a young god of promise to the elder ruler who had shaped the world. His time was ending, yet in this solitude, he found space for one last reflection, a quiet and final tribute to the life he had lived. Zeus walked into his memories, seeking a final peace with the life he had left behind. In his mind's eye, Zeus recalled the dark, foreboding days of his youth, his memories drifting to the harsh rule of Cronus, his father. Cronus, haunted by the prophecy of his own downfall, had swallowed each of his children, fearing that one would rise to take his throne. Zeus remembered the cold stone of the cave where he was hidden, the desperate efforts of his mother Rhea, who risked everything to save him. He remembered the battle he had led against Cronus, the storm of thunder and fury that marked the beginning of his rise. He had freed his siblings, forged alliances, and awakened the power that would later define him. These first battles were more than just a war for Olympus. They were a trial by fire, a crucible that had turned a hidden child into a god-king. The triumph over Cronus was his first victory, a moment that established him not just as the ruler of Olympus, but as a god destined to shape the cosmos itself. As he thought of Cronus and that first rebellion, Zeus felt a spark of pride, a reminder of the strength and courage that had driven him, of the ambitions that had once burned like lightning in his heart. Those days were distant, but their power had shaped everything that followed. In this memory, Zeus felt the echoes of his youthful fire, the raw power that had once defined him. Zeus's thoughts drifted to the golden age of Olympus, the days when he and his siblings had forged a new kingdom. He remembered the construction of the great halls, the columns that reached toward the heavens, the vibrant council where gods gathered to guide mortals and govern the natural world. Olympus had been a realm of beauty, a sanctuary for gods, and a beacon of divine order. He recalled the unity he had shared with his brothers Poseidon and Hades, his bond with Hera, and the loyalty of Athena, Apollo, and Hermes. Together they had created a divine family, each god and goddess playing their part, embodying the forces that shaped mortal life. Zeus remembered the pride he felt each time mortals lifted their eyes to the heavens, knowing that Olympus stood above, a symbol of protection and power. In those golden days, he believed Olympus would last forever, that the gods would forever watch over mortals, guiding and protecting them. But even in this memory, Zeus sensed the seeds of eventual discord, the rivalries, the betrayals, and the gradual shifts in loyalty that would later lead to conflict. Yet, in this moment, he allowed himself to dwell on the joy of Olympus in its prime, a kingdom strong and united, a place where he had ruled as the undisputed king. The memory of Olympus in its golden age was bittersweet, a reminder of the power and beauty he had built and then watched fade. Zeus's thoughts turned to the great conflicts that had tested his strength and resolve, battles that had left their mark on both Olympus and the world below. He remembered the Gigantomachy, the battle with the giants, a brutal conflict that had nearly destroyed Olympus. He had led his family into that war with unwavering confidence, believing that they could withstand any threat. And they had. Olympus had emerged victorious, but not without scars. He recalled the rebellion led by Hera, Athena, and Poseidon when they had chained him in his own chambers, challenging his authority as king. It was a betrayal he had never forgotten, a reminder of the tension that had simmered beneath Olympus's unity. But instead of crushing them, he had restored the balance, using mercy rather than force to maintain control, a decision that had preserved the pantheon but left fractures in its foundation. Zeus knew these battles had shaped him, each one refining his understanding of leadership and the limits of his power. They had tested his authority, forcing him to find a balance between rule and restraint. And in the end, they had shown him the strength and frailty of his kingdom, a place where loyalty was both his greatest asset and his greatest vulnerability. In these memories, Zeus saw the strength that had defined him, but also the cracks that had begun to form in Olympus's foundations. As Zeus continued to reflect, his mind settled on the Trojan War, a conflict that had begun as a mortal dispute, but had spread like wildfire, dividing the gods and exposing the rifts within Olympus. Hera, Athena, Aphrodite, each had taken sides, turning a mortal war into a battle of pride and power. Zeus had attempted to stay neutral, hoping to keep the gods from tearing each other apart, but his authority had wavered. The Trojan War was not just a tragedy for mortals, it had revealed the divisions among the gods, divisions that even he could not mend. He remembered watching Achilles, Hector, and other heroes die, their lives shaped and ultimately destroyed by divine interference. It was a war that had left Zeus questioning his own influence, wondering if the power he wielded had done more harm than good. It was in the aftermath of the Trojan War that he had felt Olympus's grip on the mortal world truly begin to slip. In that memory, Zeus saw the beginning of the end, a world where gods no longer held absolute sway, where mortals sought independence, guided by their own choices rather than divine will. It was a reminder of how much had changed, a conflict that had marked the slow, inevitable decline of Olympus's influence. The Trojan War was a scar that could not be erased, a turning point that revealed the limits of divine rule. In his solitude, Zeus accepted the lesson that had taken him eons to learn, that mortals did not need gods to survive, to thrive, to grow. He understood finally that the world had changed, that Olympus was no longer a place of power but a memory, a symbol of a time when gods and mortals walked side by side. Humanity had grown, had found strength within itself, and no longer relied on Olympus to guide its path. He reflected on Hercules, his mortal son, who had ascended to Olympus, but had embodied the virtues of humanity: strength, resilience, humility. In Hercules, Zeus saw the spirit of a new world, one where mortals and gods were not separated by power but united by shared virtues. Hercules' legacy, the final gift from Olympus to the mortal world, reminded Zeus that his influence would live on, not in temples, but in the hearts of those who remembered his story. This realization, though painful, brought Zeus a sense of peace. His time as ruler was over, but his legacy would live on in the myths, the stories, the values that would be passed down for generations. He had been a king, a father, a warrior, and a guide. And now he would become a legend, a figure remembered but no longer worshipped. In this final acceptance, Zeus found the peace he had sought, a quiet acknowledgement of a legacy that would endure even as Olympus faded into memory. As the last rays of light touched the distant peaks of Olympus, Zeus stood in silence, feeling the weight of his journey lifting. He no longer felt the burden of kingship or the need to hold dominion over gods and men. In this moment he embraced his place as a memory, a story passed down, a figure of awe and wonder, no longer bound to power or rule. Zeus cast one last look toward Olympus, his once great kingdom now a quiet, empty place where the echoes of his life would linger. With a sense of peace, he turned away, stepping into the unknown, leaving behind a legacy woven into the fabric of mortal history. He walked with dignity, no longer a god of power, but a figure of legend, a symbol of an age that had shaped the world. As he faded from view, so did Olympus, retreating from reality into the realm of myth, a place preserved in stories, passed down through generations. The golden age of gods was over, but their memory would live on, inspiring humanity to seek greatness, courage, and resilience. Zeus had become a legend, his kingdom a memory, and his legacy an eternal part of the human soul. In the years that followed, the name of Zeus was spoken in reverence, in stories that told of gods and heroes, of trials and triumphs. Temples crumbled, altars were left bare, but the stories remained. Zeus, Hera, Athena, Apollo, and all the gods of Olympus lived on in memory, inspiring generations with tales of bravery, wisdom, love, and loss. Mortals would look to the stars and remember a time when gods walked among them, when Olympus reigned as a beacon of divine power. They would tell stories of Zeus, the god who ruled the heavens, the king who led the gods, the figure who had shaped their history. And in these stories the gods would live on, not as rulers, but as symbols of the greatness, the flaws, and the resilience that defined the human spirit. The memory of Olympus endured, a legacy carved into the heart of humanity, a story of gods and men that would never be forgotten. Until we meet again, may your path be filled with peace, strength, and a touch of magic. I'm young Homer, and I look forward to our next